Yo guys, Tempo here and welcome back to another video. I want to dedicate this channel into sharing all the knowledge that I have, whether it comes to crafting, profit making, or creating the strongest and most fun builds in the game. You'll be seeing my build here also demonstrated a bit in the video. If you're keen on trying out the build, basically it's linked down below and you can follow it if you want. It is the Abyssal Frost Lich using Frostbolt. Now this video will be about my temple layout that I have created myself. It is one of the best, if not the best, layouts in the game right now for raw currency. You can also play negative rarity in this temple, but you will need to be ritualist with 101% minus negative rarity. This video is dedicated to also the viewers that I have that wanted to actually have a step-by-step guide into, how to build the temple, basically, that they've been seeing on stream. When I've been building it, they've all been eager to actually do it themselves. So I was thinking to, showcase a, step-by-step basically guide how to build it from the ground. And all like tips and tricks and small things, bigger things that you need to think about on the way when building the temple. So this is my current situation with the temple. This took me about 3 to 4 days-ish. Let's get right into the building of the temple. I want to also just showcase TLDR here. We will go more into it later on to showcase. You can also see the numbers on the site, for an example. We'll showcase that. But essentially, the temple layout has way more rarity, a bit less effectiveness. Big things are, do you want to farm Atsiri at the end, like every second run? And also, this one is way easier to build, but it is a hard temple. It's not easy to build it, but it's easier than the Musti layout. Also the one that most people are using, and also that is the one Fabgan also used, for example. So this is the layout, and we're gonna demonstrate step by step how to build it. Also, essentially here, if you want to farm Atsiri in the Musti layout, for example, I'm pretty sure you have to remove 2 corruption chambers, which are really important rooms, for example. And even then, I'm a little bit unsure. You could get unlucky and the architect could go here and loop your temple if the Atsiri goes here. I'll have to double check this a little bit, but it makes sense to remove these 3 rooms at least here and put the Atsiri chamber here to farm the key and to do her over and over. But the architect could, if you're unlucky, go into this spot here, because the architect, if he's cornered like this, we have evidence that he can, if you're turbo unlucky, actually move into this spot and loop your temple, pretty much. This can happen. But this is the first time we saw it happen. Essentially, this was from one of my viewers. As you can see here, you're kind of cornering the architect. He cannot move here, he cannot move here, cannot move here, cannot move here, cannot move here. Could move here, but it's in the down section of the temple, so he shouldn't move there. He could also move here or here, right? Or he should stay put where he is. But it is a little bit weird how he actually goes to the spot and loops the temple here. This is from one of my viewers, my mod, that actually finished my temple almost before I could get the chance to do it, because I was leveling up my new character and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see. But as you can see, the architect could move to this spot. That is why, essentially, if we're farming that series later on, I just wanted to say this because this is an important aspect. Obviously, because a lot of people want to farm Atsiri. Essentially, in my temple, this layout, it is probably going to be more like this. And make sure that these 2, this here, is gone if you want to farm Atsiri. And you don't have this room here. So essentially, he cannot move here, 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 because he is two-way looping, right? He is two-way looping into your rooms. If you have, for example, this here, you might think, oh, okay, but he shouldn't be able to move here. But that is essentially what happened to Nindo. And the architect actually moved here and he looped the temple, right? So just remove this one. And even if he moves here, he will not loop your temple. But you should be farming Atsiri, removing, and then moving, right? Shouldn't do it opposite. So this is the layout. And essentially the differences are here. You can just pause if you would like to. Here, you can see number of rares, is essentially almost the same. The big thing here is a little bit more effectiveness from this layout and the same amount of modifiers, because it's 500%, it should be 5 plus modifiers. And then you have the rarity, that is the big caveat here that I wanted to chase for. It's over 1000%. And also here in the Musti layout, you see that it is, 600%. So let's go through the building of the temple and what you can think about when you're building it. Essentially, we are using two techs here, and that is the Russian tech, and we're also using the Roman road tech. If you're unfamiliar with this, just don't worry, I will explain it in the video. So essentially, how we're starting, it is always like whatever temple you want to do. I think the most optimal way of starting your temple chain is always going to be this right here. This is the golem, smithy, armory, garrison into spy master into garrison. And then here, from here, you can choose if you want to do like the easier version, that is just place and go, right? It's place like this and go. And you try to get as many spy masters as you can in the first chain to sustain locks. But in this temple, we're not doing that. We're doing the Russian tech. Essentially, what you can do is just do the Russian tech and do like this, and you can place them freely, right? But I will explain the Russian tech here. So essentially, you cannot place a spy master here, right? Because the game doesn't allow you. It wants variety, right? It doesn't want you to like place same rooms over and over with all the rooms. Some rooms you can do this with, like the Tama and the Alchemy Lab, for an example. As you can see, you can continuously place these rooms back to back without any issue. Some rooms you can do this with, but other rooms you cannot. And such as like the golem, for an example, you cannot place like golem, smithy, golem, or, smithy, golem, smithy, and then golem, right? It doesn't allow you to. And the same goes for the spy masters. It won't allow you. So what do we do about this? Yes, we try to trick the game here. So essentially, instead of just, placing the armory, we want to do the Russian tech. Instead of clicking this, I will demonstrate it. So you do an armory on the side, you do a garrison, then you are allowed to do a spy master. And that is because this one here is actually brown now. It is not green, right? It means essentially that you're like fooling the game into thinking that you're doing some sort of other like layout than just spamming spy masters and garrisons, right? But you're kind of doing that anyways, right? So here in this situation, what you want to do is do this, and then you want to lock the spy master, okay? Locking the spy master makes it so that the game will automatically remove one of these two rooms if it is available. Also, if you have a sack chamber here, when you're like building the temple, let's say you're like kind of like this, and you like found a sack chamber and you have a sack available as one of the cards, right? You can also use this sack here in order to sacrifice this one and then keep on building the temple, right? And now you cannot do it. You need to do the trick again. So that is one thing you can do. Let's just demonstrate once again with the Russian tech here. So it's armory into garrison, into spy master. You lock the spy master, game removes these two, and voila, you have the spy master. Then you place a garrison. Then once again, you do the same thing, and this you lock here, and you just keep going like that. So when you get into the corner here, it is important to know that it is kind of hard to do corners, but essentially we're following the same step here. We're doing garrison into armory, into garrison, into spy master, into another garrison, okay? You don't have to do all of this in one round. As long as you like kind of have, let's say, this in front of you, you can just lock this until you have like a medallion. Let's say what I did was like, I waited until I have like a good situation in front of me. Like let's say a spy master medallion, a garrison medallion, and then a spy master, and then like maybe 2-3 locks. Because you will need a couple of locks when you get to this spot. So essentially what you do is that you lock this and you lock this. And if you lock this and this, that should be fine, but you can also lock all these three, and voila, you can do the tech again, and it will be fine. Now, let's say you have the situation in front of you where it looks like more like this, right? And you're like, oh my god, this is the thing I have now. I had a spy master. What do I do? Essentially here, what you want to do is that you want to lock these two, and this will be removed, and then you can just, place the garrison, and until you have the garrison, you just lock this, and you have it until you have the garrison, and then you place here, and then you lock this, and then eventually this will go away, because this one is protected by these two in this scenario, and this one is also hanging, so that means it's hanging, so you don't have to lock this one in this situation, because if like the game cannot choose this, because then it will look like this and this will die out, right? So you don't really have to do that. You can just lock this and this in this situation, and this will go away, right? So that is just how you do it in this step. You just do it like that over and over. Now I will go to the Russian tech so it goes faster here, but you get the point. So now from this point onwards, it is pretty simple. As you can see here, there's no real tech going on here. Keep moving here. Then you do a sack chamber. This is gonna be your sack chamber in the build, basically. Then you can do, if you have all the rooms in front of you and you have like a sack here, let's say, a sack, and maybe it's protected also in some way. Also in this stage, like the temple is gonna remove like around 2 rooms. You can see it here. If you put it on the tool, you can see like kinda ish how many rooms the temple will destroy for you also when you reach this point. So like here, for example, if you do like a garrison, right? Like you could potentially, like if you have all the rooms in front of you, you could do a Roman road up to this point. And let's say you have the like a couple of medallions in front of you, a lock, and also a sack from the sack chamber. In the same round, you can do a spy master here, garrison into a spy master if you're like turbo lucky in the situation. Like you could be, right? And then you could do this, and then you use the sack on this one, and voila. You now have like, you can now like build it faster. But I did not choose to do this because like I kind of had like a good layout in front of me when it came to the cards at that point, so I didn't do it. But you could do it like that. Remember, you need 1 sack available, but like in this case, like just kill off the sack and, you know, get a new sack eventually when you reach this point here, which we're going to right now. So like here, right, make sure that you have this sack available. Like it's important that when you place the sack that you actually have sacks available for this like bit here that we're gonna go to here, because here we are going to use Roman tech basically. So here you're just doing like, here is 3 thaumaturges. This basically essentially took me around a day to fix this corner here because thaumaturges can be a little bit tricky to find, but yeah. So, and we are going to apply 1 more spy master here. And I'm pretty sure this is the Smithy chain right here. Okay, so this is important right now. What I noticed was that I was basically, so essentially when you're building your temple, you can make like a lot of currency by just farming at Siri over and over and doing like architect into Assyri, architect into Assyri, architect into Assyri, right? And to do that, you need to place the key room somewhere. And usually like here or here, or, you know, here or here or here, you know, you just place the key room and then you like place like, let's say the key room is here, you just place like a garrison and then you can just do the key, like let's say it's here, right? Then you can just go, like you do the architect, and then after that you get the key, you place the key, you place like a garrison here, for example, and you do like the key room, you go into Assyri, you need to lock the main chain. It is extremely important that you lock the main chain when you're doing Assyri and when you're doing architect. The temple will destabilize if you do not lock your main chain. If you lock your main chain, it is all Gucci, nothing will get destroyed. If you forget to lock though, it is GG. So essentially here, what I realized when I was like doing this, I was farming the regalia, right? I got like 4 or 5 regalias while building the temple. So you want the architect here. It's extremely important that the architect is here, okay? But essentially what I did, I was like ping-ponging him around because I was farming the regalia. And an issue I was stumbling into was that I had him on the spot that I want to have him, right? But then I was like fooling around with the regalia and I wasn't like really thinking because I was like around here. But essentially like this part here for me took like, you know, an hour or 2. I did not expect this part to take like that fast for me basically. So when I reached the point here where I wanted the architect here, he was refusing to move to this spot. And that was like, there is some weird interaction with like architect, because I was like having like this and I was blocking him like this as well. And essentially like right now, he was like here, I like did him, he moved like here, like he moved here, for example, and then I like moved him and then he moved here. Tried to do him like 6 or 7 times from this spot and move him into this, but he refused to go to that spot with this layout here because I was like blocking him from going to any others of these spots, right? Because he doesn't like to go to like next to a room that you have basically. He can't really do that. But also what I noticed was that he refused to move to this spot. It should be an open spot because there's nothing here, there's nothing here, there's nothing here, there's nothing here, right? So he should move to the spot, but he was refusing to go there, and he was here originally, right? So what I noticed, and also some help from my viewers as well, like that was like, you know, having kind of similar situations and like, you know, please do this, like it's probably gonna help you out. I was removing this and I was doing like this instead. Essentially now there's not a room here, there's not a room here. So there's, and I also removed this and I locked this. So like essentially one lock and two locks. So now he kind of like the only two spots he can like ideally go to here, according to like our testing and stuff, is actually these two spots here, because he doesn't like to go anywhere else, even not on this spot now, because it's like too close to this one. Essentially what you do is like this spot is where you want him. This is what you do if you reach to this point. If you want to move him to this spot, just do this. This is one lock, two lock, okay? If you want to like farm the regalia and move him around, and eventually when you reach to this spot right here, you want the architect to be on this very specific spot before you move forward, okay, with the temple building. So the architect is here now. This is like what you want, and then you just, now you can keep going, right? Now you can keep going. So essentially what you do is like you just move here. This is how it looks like, and there's not really any tech here whatsoever. And we do this, we get the thaumaturge into corruption chamber. And here comes the tricky part. And also you want to finish this snake before going and moving on to the second one, ideally. Because here you want to do like a path, and now comes the Roman tech, basically. So what you want here from this location, ideally 3 of the rooms that you need in medallions. And why so is because you want to you want to do this in one go, okay? So you want one path, you want a sack from the sacrificial chamber available. Okay, so what you do is like you have available for you from the cards, okay? You have a sack, you have a path, and you have a armory, a alchemy lab, and a thaumaturge. So now instead of doing the Russian tech, we're now doing like, if I take away the Russian tech here, it will still work. So you're doing like this. This is what's called the Roman road, okay? Essentially now what we're doing is we have looped our temple. If we do not finish in this turn, we will break the whole temple, okay? So this is like a scary part, but you have to follow the instructions clearly and thoroughly, okay? You need these 3 rooms available in one go, and you want a sack from the sack chamber also available in this one go with a path. So you place these 3 rooms. We are allowed to do that because of this road. And now when you place the rooms in the same turn, you use the sack on this pathing right here, boom, and now you're no longer looping and you have placed the 3 rooms, okay? This is essentially what I did as well. Now you can just keep building. This is extremely important that you do this correctly, otherwise you could brick your temple. Do not do that. And essentially here you can finish up the snake like this. You can also do this eventually, but I would wait with this garrison and just lock this. So you lock this always, boom, you're done with your first long snake here. Now we go into the golem, and it's golem into smithy, and now you're like, oh, I cannot place a golem. Yes, of course not. You need to do the Russian tech here. So we're doing Russian tech. So this is the from smithy into armory, into a alchemy lab, into a armory, into a smithy, and until this is where I'm at right now in my current temple, right? I also made a little bit of a goblin mistake of not using lock on this golem. I had a golem as well, so I had this situation. What I essentially wanted to try out was locking this and this, and hopefully this doesn't get destroyed, and this gets destroyed, and boom, we have this situation, and then I can do this into smithy, into another golem, and then sacrifice this for an example, right? And then lock this, and then this will get destroyed, right? This is essentially what I wanted to do, but game didn't like my idea. So what we're doing here is just, we're doing the normal Russian take without any, you know, tempo complication here. I just like overcomplicating it, but yeah, this is what we do. And essentially just lock these 2 here, lock, and these will get removed at least, probably even this one. And then you do the smithy, armory, into alchemy lab, into armory, into smithy, into golem. This is what you can do as well. Yeah, this will require some locks in this situation. This is like one of the harder parts in the temple. So for sure you want to lock this one, because otherwise the game could take this, and you want to lock this for sure. Preferably even lock this one. So these 3 should definitely be locked. If you have another sack, so you should probably have it as well. You can actually probably just sack this one in the round, you probably just lock this one, and these should get removed, and then you just keep on doing the tech here, and that is this into this, and we have the same situation happening here, and you should just probably lock all these three. At this point you will sustain in locks, it shouldn't be any issue whatsoever, locking this and also having locks for this, and then eventually these will get destroyed, and you just keep going with the build. And you could maybe even lock that one because you will place it also, but don't mind it. Like, armor isn't that rare, like it shouldn't be like that big of an issue to find. And then boom, temple is essentially done. And then whenever you place a garrison, a generator, and you place a corruption chamber, these two are medallions late game that you want to kind of save up on and place here whenever you have them. And they're not like the generator, for example, is not that rare. You place it a lot of times, like 90% of the time it will be there, and then these two will be leveled up automatically from doing so. This corruption chamber is just there, and you can place it whenever you want to place it there. Just be careful to not place like a thaumaturge here when the generator is here, because you will loop your temple. So just place a corruption chamber there, and now we are done with the temple, guys. So essentially this is how it looks like. And also, you know, if you want to farm Atsiri, this is what you do, and you just place like Atsiri there, basically the key chamber, so to say. And you do like the architect, you lock the chains, you lock and you lock, you do architect, stabilize, you know, place the key, you lock, and then you do the key, lock, architect, lock, key, lock. I'm expecting a lot of like locks, like Hinokoras and a mirror here and there. Like from my other temple, I already dropped 2 mirrors from that temple. I'm expecting the third one to drop from this for sure. And also, as you can see, when you're farming Atsiri, don't identify the regalia, just sell it how it is. It is, you know, 400, 500 divine. Just draw like just quick like that. I dropped like 4 or 5 of them while I was building the temple. It is like, I don't think it's that rare, but people say like it's kind of rare. I don't know. Just don't identify it. Just sell it how it is. If you identify and you get a bad one, it drops like to 100, 200 divine. But I mean, if you get a good one, you know, it hires up in price as well. So it's up to you. Also, one last thing here before we close up the video is, if you want to level up your spy masters, like just don't turbo force it, let it happen like more naturally. So essentially what I did was that I just, you know, I didn't pre-lock this. And if you have the situation where you have another spy master, for example, I just did the temple, right? And then I did the room, I clear the room, and then I go out, I lock after I've cleared it, and then it's locked. And then essentially this spy master here will kill this, but since it's locked, it will not die, but it will like fake death, you know what I mean? So this one will level up, and this one will stay as long as you locked it after you have went into it and gone out, right? So make sure you do that if you want to like naturally level up your spy masters. Also be very careful if you have a situation where you have like 2 spy masters and you can't really place it. If you place this spy master here to try to level this one up, and you don't really have any defense, and you maybe don't have a lock, right? It is a 50-50 which one dies. And let's say this one doesn't die, okay? And this one levels up, you lose it. But let's say now you lock this and you still place this one, hoping that this one will kill this one, right? And this one will make this one level up. But even if you lock it, this one could actually kill this one, right? And stay. And then maybe next round you don't have a lock, and this one can kill this one again, and you actually lose it. And then you have a level 3 spy master laying here in the middle for fun, yeah? So keep that very much in mind. That is, it's extremely dangerous to do it like this. Do not do it, like according to me, you should not do certain things like this unless you have like a fully fleshed out like actual chain going, when like you're essentially like set on locks. You have like 2-3 locks dropping each run and stuff like that. Then I would say like do it like at least 2 locks every run dropping, and you have like a couple of locks ready. Then you can place like a spy master like here and there to make like your spy masters level up, because you know that you are getting good amount of locks, and you can always like defend the spy master on the chain, for example. So this is extremely important, this aspect. So I'll thank you all for watching. It has been a pleasure. Check me out on my Twitch, it is linked down below. Leave a like, sub, and comment. I love you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.